All right, bull runners. So it is officially over. The Ripple versus SEC lawsuit has come to an end, and all the pain, all the frustration, and the patience us XRP holders have gone through over the past few years has finally been worth it. So now the real fun is going to start, and we are about to cook. Right now on the price chart, XRP is up $3.31 while Bitcoin's dominance dropped. So in this video, we have to talk about what's taking place right now in the crypto space that is absolutely insane. This is massive, guys. Okay, this is going to be the biggest deal in crypto and the biggest news that is going to be breaking all across the world over the next, few days. So really, you got to lock in right now, and let's discuss what this means for the altcoin market. Let's discuss specifically what this means for XRP. We're going to get into the charts and what you can do to prepare if you haven't been preparing already over the past few years. So it's good to be back. It's a great day to get back on the channel and make a video. I've been busy over the past few days preparing something pretty incredible. So I'm excited for you guys. Comment 777 if you're feeling blessed, if you're feeling bullish. And as always, if you're going to become the first millionaire in your family tree and buy grandma's house back with XRP, then take the subscribe button, grab your putter, give it a tippity tapperoo, sink the putt. You know who we're doing it for. We're doing it for grandma. As always, let's run it. All right, bull runners, welcome back to the channel. So the SEC has approved the Bitwise ETF, and XRP is in alongside Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and more. XRP is now part of the fully regulated ETF space. So Wall Street just got access, and get ready for what's going to come with BlackRock here soon as well too. Make sure you guys are subscribed because we're going to cover that. Stablecoin market is expanding. Stablecoin payments are everywhere for good reason. Monica Long just posted this saying, we met with Rail Financial team. We knew their product capabilities would complement what Ripple Payments already offers. And together, we're taking the complexity out of stablecoin-based payments for any financial institution's needs. We'll have capabilities such as stablecoin pay-in, pay-out, including USD, without requiring customers to hold crypto or manage accounts themselves, not to mention a broad and deep global network, market-leading liquidity, and more. So, as all the banks start getting into this space, it's not necessarily, if I pull up this right here, you guys can see that banks are no longer asking if they should tokenize. They're asking how and which company do you think they're going to be going to, and that they already have been going to start diving in full force. Of course, that's Ripple. So here's a list of US licenses and disclosures that Rail Financial holds, who was just acquired by Ripple. So that's Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Colorado, Connecticut, you name it. The list goes on and on and on. So Ripple acquired Hidden Road, they acquired Rail Financial. They're basically becoming a bank. And so together with Ripple and Rail Financial, they will be the go-to provider of stablecoin payment infrastructure for global financial institutions around the world. So it's no coincidence why Trump just signed the Genius Act into law for stablecoins. And now this is happening with Ripple, all at the same time while the lawsuit was just dropped. On top of that, XRP has officially been listed as a commodity under the CFTC. And there's got to be a wizard behind the scenes pulling the strings here, because this is all happening while Bitcoin's dominance is breaking to the downside. Bitcoin's dominance has dropped from about 62%. It's only at 61%. So to put this into perspective for you, Bitcoin's dominance has dropped 1% and XRP has rallied from that point over 20%. So what do you think is going to happen if Bitcoin's dominance goes to, let's just say 50%? Or 40%. That's why I made this video about 3 weeks ago titled Get Out of Bitcoin, because the Fed just inked the deal. And what's going to happen next is exactly what's happening right now. It's Bitcoin's dominance has been breaking to the downside, which means that the rest of the market, or specific crypto commodities now, have been outperforming Bitcoin since the 27th of June. So as you can see on the XRP price chart right here, when XRP was at roughly $2.09, Bitcoin's dominance was all the way up at about 65%. So almost 66% if we round it up. So Bitcoin's dominance is down 5% since that point, and XRP's price is up over 60%. So if we just look at the XRP, the US dollar price chart right now with this massive green candle, I think this is just the start. Sure, it could get a little choppy in this range here, if we see a little pullback like this and XRP continuing higher. Ultimately, This right here was the low for XRP. You know, I was expecting it to go a little bit lower, potentially down to this high right here of $2.65, but you can't get always too greedy to the downside. I mean, we were just about 10 cents off from that, so pretty close. That's why not financial advice, obviously. You know, do what you want. I'm not telling you to buy XRP or sell XRP or anything, but you got to accumulate any dips that you can possibly accumulate on the more macro timeframes when we're in oversold conditions. For example, like if I zoom out here on the daily chart, you guys can see that the stochastic RSI when XRP was down here at like $2.75, you know, was all the way down pretty much at zero ever since the 26th of July until the 2nd of August. We were all the way down here. Now the relative strength index, a good sign that we are still in bullish momentum. The RSI does not need to come down below 30. In fact, most of the time it doesn't. You're going to see the RSI use, 50 right in the middle of the range as a general support. As you can see, it moved a little bit below it, so it's not 100% exact, but we are back above 50 on the relative strength index. We're at 61 on the daily, and the stochastic is at 75 and 56 in positive momentum. And so I would just expect XRP, even if we see a little bit of a pullback, to see some chop through this range and just continue higher and inevitably break out past the all-time high and go into price discovery. This is what I'm looking for XRP, because this ultimately is just another cup and handle pattern that you can see. If we look all the way back here from the high on the 16th of January, ultimately to this high right here, you guys can see this massive cup essentially for XRP. And what we're going through right now is the handle. So depending on how choppy it gets in the short term and in the volatility over the next 1 to 2 weeks, as this good news spreads around the world, well, what we would do for a price target is we would take the depth of the cup. So if I just take it from this high right here on the 16th of January and measure down to the low of $1.59 and put it to the breakout point, rough estimate here would be roughly $5.45. So right around about $5. That's where I'd expect the next major move for XRP before we see some major volatility and some aggressive 20, 30, 40, maybe 50% pullback again. And we're going to revisit the chart when we are up there. Now, if we don't hit $5, I would be absolutely dumbfounded. I would be shocked. This is one of the easiest plays in history. Bigger than the stock market, bigger than gold, bigger than any real estate property you could have possibly invested in. And the people that just didn't see this, I mean, talk about ignorance to the finest degree on a global scale, because we were yelling from the top of our lungs for years about this. The suppression that was taking place all through here during this phase was because the SEC was targeting Ripple, but all behind the scenes, if you guys watched every single video, we were covering the massive partnerships, the acquisitions, and the strategic alliances that Ripple was engaging in over the course of 2022 to 2024 for those 2 years. When people were calling Ripple a scam, XRP a scam, well, Ripple could have easily dipped and left and not spent millions of dollars to fight the SEC. No, what did they do? They doubled down. They defended XRP, the XRP community. They defended the whole entire industry. So if someone's watching this video, let's say you have another channel and you didn't talk about XRP during this time frame, you're talking about a bunch of other projects, I really don't think you are a true crypto investor if you weren't supporting Ripple during that phase, or XRP holders. Because if you're just supporting any other project and you're like, XRP is a scam, well, just watch, guys. There's going to be a flurry of videos of people coming out there saying they were wrong about XRP when XRP gets upwards of $5. In fact, this video right here from Altcoin Daily talking about what 1,000 XRP coins will be worth in 2026, he said he was wrong about XRP, and he's got about 1.6 million subscribers. So that's why opinions are like buttholes. Everyone's got one, and usually they're based on a foundation of crappy thinking. So take every opinion with a grain of salt unless it's rooted in actual facts. The fact that XRP is the banker's coin is actually a good thing, because the banks are much bigger than these little crypto circles that are dealing with billions of dollars. Banks deal with trillions of dollars every single day. So in terms of which project is actually the best in the space, it's XRP. Nonetheless, I mean, agree to disagree. Like, you guys can share your thoughts in the comments below, but look at Bitcoin's dominance here on the macro, okay? If we pull out to the daily chart, and if we just look at what trend Bitcoin has been in since 2022, it's been in a bullish trend where we've been making higher lows ultimately and higher highs. And so this trend right here is getting ready to break this ascending support. Now, if we break this ascending support at about roughly 60%, altcoins are going to absolutely fly. And just like in the past, if we go all the way back here, when Bitcoin broke this uptrend, if I were to just draw this ascending support from April of 2019 to right here, well, Bitcoin broke this uptrend right about here at the beginning of April of 2021. So let's go to XRP's price chart and see what happened on April of 2021. Well, what do you know is right when XRP was at about 60 cents right here and experienced this massive bullish green candle to push price past the previous high, we saw a little consolidation on top of it, and then we continued higher for this explosive blow off top to $1.92. And so that was about until the 14th of April. So for 2 weeks, XRP went from 60 cents to $1.95. This is going to happen very quick when we see something like this take place for Bitcoin's dominance. Now, we don't know exactly that breakdown moment, and if it's going to look like this, where it's just falling off of a shelf, basically jumping into the Grand Canyon down here, then we go into alt season. But it's coming very soon. And the reason why I say that is because we have seen this bearish divergence play out since ultimately, I mean, right here, the 7th of May, we can see a higher high. And this has been playing out even more macro on the weekly chart, but I'll just look at the daily, then we'll go out even more macro. You can see Bitcoin's dominance made a higher high by the 26th of June, but look at the relative strength index. We went from 78 to about 69 right here, showing weakness in this bullish trend. And sure enough, Bitcoin broke to the downside. This is just a short-term consolidation phase for Bitcoin on this drop base, which is a consolidation phase, and then a continuation to the downside, in my opinion. Now, if we zoom out even further to the weekly chart, look how long this divergence has been playing out. Pretty much since the 12th of June, 19th of June, we've been experiencing higher highs on the price chart. Look at the relative strength index since then. We've pretty much been experiencing lower highs, although subtle, they're definitely lower highs than this high right here if we were to start it from the 23rd of October. And so momentum has been shifting, and now we just dropped below 50 for the second time since November of 2024 on the relative strength index, and we're at 43. And so as we sit right here at the 50 EMA for Bitcoin, once we break below this 50 EMA and we do something like this, I think it's a wrap for Bitcoin's dominance, and we could be seeing this break to the downside a lot sooner than people expect. And what a coincidence that we're seeing this little short-term breakdown in Bitcoin's dominance, very similar to what happened right here for XRP at the moment that the lawsuit was dropped. Don't you guys just find that too weird of a coincidence that that's happening right now while XRP is getting ready to break back above $3.60 plus cents right here to go into price discovery in this cup and handle formation? So could it be that the move into price discovery for Bitcoin closer to $5 is at the exact same time while Bitcoin's dominance breaks down? I think that that's going to be the case, because let's go back even further and let's see what happened all the way back here in 2017. For those of you guys that are brand new to the crypto market and this is your first cycle, I was here during this phase, and I know a lot of you guys were as well too, because you're OG investors that rode through that bull run and round tripped your bags, and you're not going to make that same mistake again. Well, on the 27th of February, Bitcoin's dominance went from over 90% and dropped down to 80%. It dropped 10% very, very quickly. Well, let's go to XRP's price chart and let's see what happened the 27th of February of 2017. It was literally 3 days before XRP exploded. XRP's price went from 0.0057 down here by the 2nd of March to 0.00524. And then look what happened. We experienced this breakout and then consolidated on at the 50 EMA and then exploded to the upside, low consolidation. And then look at this massive move right here. XRP just erupted all the way to about 7 cents, and then massive pullback, obviously. But then we just continued even higher all the way up here for about 200 days before seeing an explosive blow off top to $3. If you would have accumulated XRP, I was unfortunate I didn't accumulate XRP at that low of a price, but I was able to accumulate some XRP on the way up, at a few cents here and there, 5, 10, 15, 20 cents, and then more during this phase right here. But I round tripped my bags, and I had to get rid of all of it and pay my rent down at the bear market bottom. So I learned my lesson. I should have took profits on the way up, and I should have, shoulda, coulda, woulda, but I did. After this, I learned how to read charts and understand when's the best time to take profits. And I'll be sharing that with you guys. And I don't think now's that time, because I think we're going much higher. Now, if you're in profit, taking profits is always a smart thing to do, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. I'm just going to tell you what I see. And what I see is we're going to be going much higher. Now, if that doesn't happen, like I just mentioned, I would be shocked. But just looking at XRP's price chart right now on the daily, we're in positive momentum right here. We're not in overbought conditions on the stochastic. We're definitely not in overbought conditions on the relative, but I would expect there to be some type of bearish divergence set up when we do make a move into price discovery for XRP on the relative strength index, because as you can see on this move right here on the price chart to about $3.68, the RSI went upwards of 88. So on the next major move up, if we don't pass 88 and we don't go to 90 and we experience a lower high for the next major consolidation phase, well, similar to what happened right here, you can see a higher high in the price chart. The RSI went from about 94 to about 77, and it didn't muster up enough strength to pass 94 because, I mean, the highest you can go is 100. And so that's when we saw this aggressive pullback in price of about 50%. So just be very careful on this next move up. Don't be chasing XRP's price. You know, as we work our way through this handle formation right here and then break out into price discovery, I would expect there to be some aggressive pullbacks before we continue to $5. So it's going to be very volatile through this range right here as Bitcoin's dominance breaks down for the third time in history. And as each time in each alt season that this has happened, XRP has led the charts. And XRP is not going anywhere. It's clear because it stayed in the top 10 during the entire lawsuit. If it was going somewhere, it would have dropped out of the top 10. People would have forgot about it. But everyone knows, at least the smartest people know, the people that are just ignorant, they don't understand, they haven't done their own research. Well, that's fine. You can't, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, and you can't fix stupid. You know, pigs, when you argue with a pig, it's like, when you argue with an idiot, it's like wrestling with a pig. You know, you're just going to get dirty and the pig likes it. So you can't beat an idiot at the thing that they're the best at, and that's arguing with you because they're never wrong. And so that's why you just got to stay in your lane, do what you do best, and back up your truck all the way to the bank, grab the bags, pack them and stack them, and leave no bags left behind, because the spending power of the dollar is going to keep going down in value. That's a fact. You can't debate that because of what the Federal Reserve and the Treasury has been doing. And if you disagree with it, that's like disagreeing with gravity. The dollar has been losing value over the past 50 to 100 years, and blockchain technology, distributed ledger technology, and cryptocurrencies like XRP have been going up in value. That's also a fact. You know it's the truth, and together we're all running to the top. I will see you guys on the next video. I will see you inside of Altcoin Pro University as well too when you click the link in the description below. As always, you know what to do. Stay bullish. Have you built a crypto portfolio over $1 million but want to access your wealth without selling any of your coins? Well, imagine unlocking up to 85% of your portfolio's value to fund ventures like real estate, to buy other projects in the crypto space that are undervalued compared to the projects that you currently hold, or to diversify into different DeFi yield opportunities. That way you can live on the interest without selling any of your crypto. Well, we've partnered with a leading global office offering non-recourse crypto loans for investors with portfolios starting at $1 million. The same company that is trusted by the world's largest institutions and investors, because as you already know, the billionaires don't sell their crypto, they borrow against it. So if you're ready to unlock up to 85% of your portfolio's value without selling any of your coins, and you have a portfolio with at least $1 million, then email us at team@bullrunners.com. You're going to see our email contact in the description below, and we'll get you connected with the company that has helped clients like ours north of $100 million borrow against their crypto without selling any of it. So reach out to start a conversation with our team right now at team@bullrunners.com, and we'll talk to you soon.